Hello and welcome to the Hellraiser blog. If you enjoy tonight's Hellraiser blog, please hit the subscribe button. We love growing the Hellraiser family. Okay, so I just got back from the O2 Arena, where I saw Andre Sterling win his British title, light heavyweight title eliminator against Ricky Summers. Proper test for Andre. He hit the deck in the second round. Ricky Summers really took it to him. It was a war of attrition for much of the fight, and I'm very pleased that Andre managed to clinch the win. It's a British title eliminator, so he moves closer to the British title, and there's some big names in the light heavyweight division, so it's going to hot up over the next sort of 12 months or so, and we'll be very happy to accommodate many of the people out there that could box Andre Sterling. I thought the main event, I thought it was disappointing. I thought, Eubanks, who won, I thought actually was quite poor, but he was sharper. DeGale, I think, unfortunately, I remember James DeGale from right at the beginning of his amateur career as a young lad. So I've seen him his entire career, and I've got to say, after seeing him tonight, I think that's it from him. I can't see a future from him in professional boxing. He seemed out of sorts. He was throwing single shots. Eubank, I thought was maybe better than what I've seen him at times, but I mean, some of his punches were missing by a huge margin. He hurt James. I mean, he put James over in the second round. He hurt him repeatedly. It seemed like he had the upper hand in power between the two. And Eubank, as a super middleweight, really, I've not seen him as a puncher, so I can read into that James DeGale, his punch resistance is maybe starting to wither now, because James seemed to be wobbled, rocked. He was over twice in the fight. He seemed to be like, James isn't really a one-punch knockout artist, but he was throwing single shot, and that's never really been James's thing. James, okay, he can throw like some point-scoring single shots, very clean hitting, but I realised when I was watching him, he was only landing the one shot, and at other points in the fight where Eubank was missing, Eubanks was throwing these big crude punches and missing. And a few years ago, as those punches had whistled past James DeGale's ear, there'd have been counters. There'd have been, like little 2 and 3 punch salvos. Tonight it wasn't there, even to get his feet into distance so he could counter, even to counter with a single shot. But his feet were it seemed like they were slow, and they were sort of, he was unsteady on his feet throughout, and I think that stopped him from working. I mean, look, for me, a Pete DeGale would have won very comfortably tonight. I think he would have walked away with a winner, if we'd have had the DeGale from 5 years ago. Well, tonight wasn't the DeGale from 5 years ago. And Eubank, I mean, I was disappointed in that. I wanted to see him deliver his best performance, and I didn't feel it was that. I felt he was very crude. I think if we see him against a tidy boxer, he'll be punished for some of the mistakes that he made tonight. But James DeGale was not the man to punish him. He just did not have the range. He didn't have the reflexes. The punches that he was slipping, that were going over his shoulder. A sharp world-class fighter's got to punish his opponent for that. He has to. Must. You can't let people off the hook like that and expect to get away with it at that high level. Like I say, I mean, I wasn't that impressed with Eubanks, how he actually took to his attitude was actually very commendable, but his boxing I thought was not of a high level. I thought it was good that, and in fact I'm sure a lot of the close rounds he took, Chris Eubank, because he was coming forward, he was the aggressor, he was taking the initiative, he was taking the momentum and forcing it to be in his favour. He on several occasions during the fight, it was like there was a pause, and it's like they're both waiting to see who's going to do what, and every time Chris Eubank would be the one to come forward and the one to instigate the next chapter of the fight. So a lot of those rounds that were sort of close, because Eubank was throwing a lot more punches, DeGale was slipping them, so you could say, okay, it was good defence in a way. He wasn't getting hit that much, but he was not countering. He wasn't doing anything to return the volume of punches that was coming his way. And when the final bell went, I didn't have much doubt. I was like, well, you can't really give DeGale the decision when he boxes like that. Impossible. That's not to say that Chris Eubank was anything special there, because I think Eubank himself let James DeGale off the hook so many times in the fight that, again, to me it just sort of put a dampener on the fight, because I thought he, even in the second round, he puts James DeGale over. He seemed so blatant in his follow-up attacks when he did hurt James that's not really the way to knock people out. Like to normally you wouldn't be hitting people with punches they don't see coming, or tricking them. There has to be some trickery, some imagination, some creativity there to set him up for the shots. But the punches were very crude. I mean, look, James DeGale, an Olympic champion, he's been around the block a good few times. He knows how to weather a storm when he's under pressure. But I just think that Chris Eubanks, maybe we could have seen a more conclusive finish to the fight. But listen, despite the fact that he maybe could have done better, I think tonight is a night for him to celebrate, because at the start of his career, if you'd have said, is James DeGale going to ever get beaten by Chris Eubank, I think you'd have said, no way, not a chance. And Chris has delivered on, and it only actually matters on that night. It's not like what would have happened if it was 5 years ago, what happens like if they boxed 10 times, who would win. It's just what happens on one night. And Chris Eubank Jr, he won on that night, and to be honest, I didn't think he was particularly a lucky winner. I thought he won it sort of, if they'd have boxed 10 times this year, I think Eubanks would win the vast majority, probably 9 times out of 10, because although it was a close fight, James DeGale just did not have the wind in his lungs to go with him. And it's a shame, because I've known James since he was a young lad, and to see him unable to go up the gears, and the boxing ability that he had was so spectacular early on, but to see that those tools have been blunted, and me personally, I'd like to see James walk away now, in one piece. He's had a fantastic career. He's won an Olympic gold medal. He's been a 2 times world champion. But I think the party's over now for James. Anyway, that's the end of the Hellraiser blog for tonight. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you again soon. If you enjoyed the blogs, hit the subscribe button. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.